Story 1. Finally, be able to take a deep breath out from under all my worry and stress. I probably sleep for 2 days straight. I'd have such a hard time spending it, though. Story 2. Retire my parents, pay their loans, buy them each their dream car, and then retire myself to a big cabin in the Alps, with some smart investing on the side. Story 3. I like what one of my coworkers suggested. I take the 20 people I have nothing against at work in my department of 25, and I tell each of them they get $5 million each. That way, they each have at least $3 million in their bank account after all taxes and whatnot. But here are the stipulations. 1. We all quit the same day, one at a time on the spot with no 2-week notice. When they inevitably ask each person why they are quitting, all they are allowed to do is shrug. This is me being petty. I was passed over for a promotion purely for political reasons, and when I calmly asked about it in a review, I got that shrug as a response. They are never allowed to go back to work for our company. For 5 years after leaving, whenever they see one of those 5 people in public, they must do that shrug. Story 4. I would buy a house, pay up my bills, set up a trust for my son, pay for my partner to go to college, get a reliable vehicle, and then there's this guy in my town that runs a small thrift store and food bank that has helped us. I'd give him 30 million so he could go ahead with his dreams of setting up houses for struggling people here. I'd go back to school myself, and then I'd probably see who I could find to get Stitt out of office. I'd invest in the rehabilitation and psychiatric units in the state and the Celebrate recovery programs. I've never been addicted, but I've worked in those environments, and I would love to be able to help them more. Then I have no idea what else I'd do. Story 5. I would become a supervillain, but to other rich people. I would buy golf courses and turn them into affordable housing or nature reserves, and I would twiddle my mustache with a self-satisfied grin like I tied some unsuspecting person to the railroad tracks. Story 6. Give about half to my parents. They've helped me so much in my life, and they deserve it. 5% of it to each of my close friends. I'd also probably just get a decent house with a very big basement that's fortified so it won't flood for all my collectibles. Maybe get my dream car. Story 7. Hire a professional finance manager. Pay off my loans. Buy a nice house. Go to work as usual. Definitely take more trips with family this year. For me, the biggest win would be the last point. Story 8. Pay off debts I owe. Get my mom the surgery she needs. Retire my dad. Set up my nephews for life. Same with my siblings. Fix that check engine light I previously couldn't afford. Go back to school. Build my friend a bakery. Fix that dent and repair the whole car. Fix the air conditioner and the blown speakers. Pay off my ex's loans. Get some barbecue and tacos. Re-up. Smoke, then take a nap. It would be the last time I'd have only $17 and change in my bank account. Story 9. Pay my parents, buy a fountain for my cats, and invest most of the money in a safe, low-profit option. With the monthly gains, live a decent life and work with organizations that help animals. Also, go to the doctor. I need to visit quite a few different doctors. Maybe finally try Vyvanse, which I have been prescribed and couldn't pay for. Story 10. Give so much of it away. Literally, no one needs even close to that amount. I don't want to be rich for the sake of buying stuff and living lavishly. I just want money to live my life on my time without wasting it all at work. Story 11. Sounds boring, but I would probably just continue studying to get my degree. Surely I won't really need it, but I might as well finish it now. For that reason, my general life would be pretty much the same, except for a new apartment and probably a few new cars. Story 12. Buy a nice but inexpensive car. It is winter, and I need something to hold me over. Buy a modest house. Pay off my parents' mortgage, debt, and everything else. Come spring, buy a nice car. Talk to a financial advisor and see how to manage the rest to make sure I'm set for life. Story 13. Shove a middle finger in my personal loan officer's face. Pay off all of my debts and my car loan. Quit my job. Move somewhere remote. Buy my mom a house. Live quietly and humbly. Story 14. That much money, freedom, and power would be overwhelming. After buying some toys and items for my friends and me, I would try to figure out how to help people. I know it sounds cheesy, but $1 billion is just so much money. I would have to do something good so I could live with myself. Porsche 911 GT3 Touring first though. Story 15. Find a way to claim the money anonymously. Hire an attorney and financial planner. Instantly set up a fund that pays me a comfortable but not lavish monthly sum for the rest of my life. That's insurance against behaving like lottery winners who are broke within 5 years of their win. Provide my parents with funds to allow them to stop worrying about money and having to work at heavy manual labor in their late 80s, which is what they are doing now. Give a sum to other close family members. Get a modest house, but with some lake or sea frontage. Finish graduate school. Provide substantial funds for providing veterinary care to dogs on Native American reservations. Travel. Story 16. Buy a plot of land, about 40 to 100 acres, put in a road and infrastructure, and build my house at the end of the road. I would give each friend and family member a couple of acres to build their dream house that I pay for. Story 17. Step 1. Leaving everyone and everything about my old life behind. Not like fully disappearing, but I'm packing my family up, only bringing sentimentals, and moving somewhere safer out of state. Step 2. Paying off all outstanding debts my parents have. Step 3. Call me idiotic, but it's always been my dream to own one ever since I was 8. I'm on the phone with the nearest Lamborghini dealer about my desire to purchase both an Aventador SVJ and a Urus. Step 4. Buying my mom and dad both a car. They're modest, so at most it would cost a combined $115,000. Step 5. Furnishing and installing the necessities of the new house. I'm thinking around $2 million on the absolute highest end with features like 4K TVs and heated floors. Step 6. At this point, it wasn't exactly mentioned if the billion was taxed or not, but assuming it was, I'd walk away with $600 million on the good side. Maybe $500 million if I was really getting hit by taxes. And I've spent less than 5%, probably only coming out to $10 million, and that's if I bought a really nice house. Step 7. Put away a good $200 million into reliable stocks like Apple or Amazon. I'd also hire financial advisors or a team to assist with making solid, safe, but reliable financial investments. Step 8. Accomplish my dream of philanthropy, like walking into a restaurant and picking up everyone's tabs, ordering 100 pizzas and giving them out to the homeless, or paying for someone's groceries. These little things would mean almost nothing to me with still easily $270 million to share, but would make the person's day or even week that I helped. My financial advisors would ensure I don't go overboard, but even giving away $100,000 is like pennies for me at this point. Step 9. Donate to an animal shelter and help get abandoned and abused animals adopted. Step 10. Finally have the financial means to start my dream of becoming an entrepreneur. 99% of entrepreneurs fail because of a lack of funding. Now, I'd have the means to help create a truly revolutionary product. Step 11. Following the entrepreneurial route, maybe invest in a few other startups as well. I have a few that I've identified as great, but since I don't have the means to invest in them, I'm afraid I'll never capitalize. Maybe guest appear on Shark Tank for a few episodes. Step 12. Switch almost exclusively to a natural diet and avoid fast food or junk like Doritos or my personal kryptonite, tacos, except for extremely special occasions. Step 13. Take the time to personally check in and show my support to those who've had the greatest impacts on my life, such as my high school teacher, college professor, one of my coaches growing up, a few neighbors who helped pay for my family's groceries when we had our utilities shut off, even a famous singer I've looked up to for a while and dream of meeting one day to thank for her role in my life. Step 14. Go all in on becoming a businessman focused on creating a better future for my family and my community. But that's not without the final 2 steps. Step 15. Find the love of my life and start a family, something money can't buy. Some would argue it would be more difficult because I have to navigate gold diggers and such, but I believe that since I'm a billionaire with no or minimal fame to get there, it would be a lot easier. Step 16. Travel the world. My ultimate dream on this earth is to travel the world with the love of my life and my family. It's nearly impossible to achieve this without financial security. So every few months, I'd take my beautiful wife and parents to a new corner of the world for a week to experience as many beautiful cultures and places as possible. I could literally go on forever. Money doesn't buy happiness? Well, that's a lie in my case. I think about this question at least once a week and even indulge in this fantasy via artificial intelligence. I tell it to write me hypothetical stories about traveling the world with my wife and family, the things we'd see, what we'd feel, how happy we were. Oh, to have money. Story 18. Hire a full-time 3 Michelin star chef to cook for the family and make intricate dessert creations. There will also always be a tower of fresh macarons or toffees to eat by the bubble bath. Live part of the year on a luxury safari reserve, watching the herd migrations, and working with local anti-poaching organizations. The other time would be traveling to new and interesting places that one generally only sees in travel documentaries. Go to space on some other billionaire's rocket. No way I am wasting money building my own. Every year, provide full scholarships to the entire graduating class of a random low-income school in my city or district. Get Tom Jones to sing at my birthday party. If he is busy, then Dolly Parton. Story 19. Set up a dog shelter so people who experience domestic violence or have to go to prison can board their dogs there until they can get them back. Give people a reason to push through. Story 20. Buy a lot of beautiful land, build my own house on it, buy a bush plane, found a reforestation and rewinding nonprofit, found a construction company that only builds homes that are $250,000 or cheaper. Story 21. Build tiny houses for anyone who needs one. The application process would ask a few questions. The most important question would be, is your current housing decent, safe, sanitary, and adequate for your needs? Come one, come all. I'll help those in need. Story 22. 1. Help my family with their most urgent needs. Go from bank to bank and ask who offers the best monthly deposit rates if I put money into one of their accounts, then deposit it. Continue working at my job, I like it. Maybe less. Use the deposit rates to compensate for my loss in earnings and additionally do good deeds every month, possibly for different projects. Story 23. Invest it so that I can fulfill my dream. Buy every golf course on the planet and make them parks. Reintroduce native flora, trees, and save some water. Story 24. Buy out the largest media houses and fund them to ensure objectivity of news reporting, especially since they have become propaganda pieces. Focus on improving education in my country. Probably buy or invest in a Formula One team and a chateau in the south of France for my personal enjoyment. Story 25. Make sure that all of the people who stood beside me were free of debt and comfortable enough to pursue what they desire in life. I would just want them to be able to live without the stress of money and bills. People would be able to realize their potential and hopefully do things to help others as well. I love service work. It keeps me grounded and grateful for what I have, and it keeps me sober too. I could change generations of lives for the better with that kind of money, and my family would be set too. I dream of this daily, so that's why I wrote a book. Story 26. Make sure the people I care about are set, invest a huge portion, pay off student loans, buy or build a house where I want to permanently end up, travel the world, and then go back to the house I bought or built. If there is any money left, I'll keep a fund large enough to stay alive very comfortably, where I don't have to work, but not too big as investments will be paying off by now, and then use the rest for the good of others. Story 27. Buy a supercar. Do some Uber runs so normal people can feel what it is like to ride a supercar. If I find someone who I feel inclined to give the person said supercar, then repeat. Story 28. Buy a house with a yard, go to the dentist, get that knee surgery I need so I could walk again, get a dietitian, save about $47 million to live on for the rest of my life, and then put the rest into a foundation so I could fund animal shelters all over the country. Think of all the animals that would be saved. Story 29. Give it to Eliezer Yudkowsky. This isn't even a joke, nor am I particularly thrilled about it. It just seems like something that needs to happen regardless of how much the parts of my brain that need to be overruled would scream about it. I doubt he would enjoy it that much either, but he would probably accept it after double and triple checking what I was expecting in return. Story 30. Well, I always wanted a private jet filled with expensive wine and champagne and a personal chef and crew to cook luxury food on board. and a nice king-sized bed in the plane, fully intact with a hot bubbling jacuzzi. This way, I can travel the world in comfort and not get stuck in the current worsening leg space and seats. So my luxury private jet is one. Definitely a giant penthouse with a private lift into my home with lots of hired help. And I would use the money to try every expensive weight loss program in the world, including an expensive personal trainer to get the toned body I dreamt of having. A personal chef, too, to make sure all the food is as per what I am supposed to be eating. I will never work again, but will start a lot of social activities and organize trips. I already do this, but due to financial constraints, I could not do the kind of trips I really want to do. Story 31. Buy a house in my town. I love where I live. Travel. Give money to Shriners Hospital and Ronald McDonald House, who helped my kid. Support groups that provide lawyers for poor people, and groups that lobby on behalf of consumers instead of corporations.